Welcome to the Porsche Club Insider, your one stop for all things Porsche and PCA. Here's your host, Vu Gwyn, and the Insider crew.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 180. We are back at PCA's national office. And to my right, I have Manny Albin. To my left, our special guest, which I'll introduce in a moment. And at the controls, we have Damon Lowney. For those of you that are 996 fans or perhaps Unstock fans, this episode will be for you. But before we get into that, I want to make sure we thank our presenting sponsor, Pirelli. Pirelli tires have to achieve the highest levels of performance, safety, noiselessness, and grip on the road surface. Innovative tires that can even satisfy the most specific mobility needs of the end consumer. And I want to thank you, all of you that are listening. If you aren't currently a PCA member and own a Porsche, grab that VIN, head over to pca.org, and make sure you make yourself a member. And for those of you that don't currently own a Porsche and need some help in finding that special one for your garage or driveway, try out our test drive program, unlocks all sorts of resources, maybe even gives you some access to Mr. Manny Albin to answer your questions about your next Porsche. Head over to pca.org. Our guest today, he's back. Peter Simpson, service manager of Porsche Owings Mills. We'll hear a little bit of some day-to-day stories, but he's got this project, the Classic Restoration Challenge project, that's come to, I would say, kind of to the last chapter, right?
It's very close. Yeah, we're almost there. And thanks for having me back. These past few months flew by. I feel like I was just here.
And I miss the unveiling, but I'm looking forward to hearing all about that.
I'm going to give my wheel guy a lot of crap.
Your wheel guy?
Yeah, because I'm supposed to have my cup ones painted.
Oh gosh!
I dropped them off before I went to the when we first saw the 996, and he was taking it apart, you know.
Yeah.
And now the 996 is done, and my wheels still haven't been painted.
Did you make the mistake that I did and said, take your time?
I think I did. I said,
yeah, you never say that. Don't tell me that either.
So I've sent some emails saying every week checking on my wheels.
So how was everyone's weekend?
Good. It was, we went to it's actually my wife dragged me to this, Chesapeake Region Concours judging school.
Judging school. Interesting.
Where they teach how people are interested in becoming Concours judges, how to judge, what to look for, what the rules are. And, I was joking with them. I said, I probably have 30 minutes of material for the podcast about, I started thinking in the big picture of things and it's not just Concours, but any hobby. You get people that are really into it and really devoted, and the minutia they will start arguing over. And we got into a big discussion about decals on cars and whether they should be allowed or not.
Oh, for points.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
And then there was other discussions about Alcantara and whether it should be brushed a certain way.
Wow.
And what I discovered was a lot of these questions were also very self-interest. Because the person asking you would say, are you asking for a friend or do you own an Alcantara?
Oh, I got a friend that has it, yeah.
So if my Alcantara is clean, but it's mad because it's worn, do I get points off? Yes.
So, yeah, it was a pretty good school.
Well attended?
Yeah, very, very well attended.
So this was to teach people how to judge, not how to prepare their cars.
No, just how to judge. Because the two members, I don't know why, but they submitted their cars, and it was kind of like doing a colonoscopy and having about 20 people commenting on your colon as the doctor was doing it, because they went to town on these cars. And
my Concours career ended with what was it in Chicago? What parade was that?
That was St. Charles.
St. Charles, yeah. That's where they I worked extremely hard to prepare my 2006 Cayenne, worked all night, took the wheels off, and they knew it, but they didn't tell me I was the only one in class. Thankfully I still scored high in points, so I got some extra awards, but yeah, I could have just left the Cheerios and French fries in the car and I still would have taken first. But anyways, it was a good experience. How about you, Damon? You went autocrossing?
Yeah, I did go autocrossing, and it was with a local club, Brandywine Motorsports Club, which brings in a mix of PCAers. Pinto was there, and local SCCA members, but they're from Delaware, so it was kind of like BMC is a Delaware-based club, so it was kind of cool. You get to autocross against some people maybe you don't always. It was at Ripken, so great site. And my latest project has been to learn how to left foot brake. And so I've done 2 autocrosses where I only left foot braked. I was about a second slower than what I usually would be, you know, compared to some of my benchmarks, you know, people I race against. This time, I beat the person that I wanted to beat with while I was left foot braking. I did a mix of my first run was left foot to get used to it, and then I tried to set a time for the second and third runs using my right foot. And then my fastest time was my 5th run with my left foot, and I did left foot braking the rest of the way through.
Wow.
So cool. I'm pretty happy about that.
So when you texted all of us about that, I thought about how, like, when we go karting, they're not PCA events, just to be clear, but when we personally go karting, left foot braking is like no big deal to me, right?
Yeah.
But in a car, like where I have to, I guess, put my foot on top of the brake pedal, also because you have a clutch there as well, like it's awkward. Like it can get pretty awkward, you know, in, let's say, a sweeper, left turn sweeper, and you have to get on the brakes right afterward. So you're taking that left-hand turn, a lot of G-forces, and your leg isn't, you know, you want to have your leg ready and your foot ready to get on the brakes right afterwards. But in the meantime, do you put it on the footrest, the dead pedal, which is quite a leap to get to the brake pedal, or do you just hold it above the brake pedal against the G-forces? So there's some things to figure out. That's certainly a skill that I'd like to work on, and we'll try that.
I think I've given up. I can't do it.
No, but you can do it in a kart.
I can do it in a go-kart, but it's so much different than a... To me,
our sim racing rig will help with that. And also there's something else that I've noticed about this. So practicing on the Cayenne, where the brake pedal is somewhat soft, you know, it's not a very firm brake pedal compared to the Cayman. It's harder to modulate with your left foot in traffic. But if you're just going for it, and your 2 levels are not on the brakes
or stab it
or brake really hard, it's not as hard as you might think.
So tell listeners, what's the advantage of learning the left foot brake?
So the microseconds between coming off the brake and onto the gas pedal, and off the gas pedal and onto the brake. And also I would think to trail brake, you can set the front end a little bit longer because you have your left foot on the brake.
Yeah.
Before you fully let go, and I do hold my braking in my turns a little bit longer to keep the weight on the front and make sure. In fact, I was talking to the young guy I was instructing, like stay on your brake a little bit longer to keep the weight on the front so you can turn in and get closer to the cones, because he was letting go and moving over to the gas too early, and as soon as he did that, the car just went away from the cone and wanted to go straight. So I think if you're able to do both of those by left foot braking.
That's what I learned.
Yeah.
It wasn't the shifting part.
No.
It was balancing the car.
Yeah.
Because if you're just full-on brake, then you're loading up the front end and you're losing traction in the rear because everything's going to the front. But if you can stay on the gas and then apply brake to move the weight now to the front a little bit, it balances the car.
Yeah.
That's what I couldn't do. Because remember, it's not... you're doing this, you're braking at the very last millisecond you have to brake. So you're already in full panic fear mode that you're going to spin this car. Yeah. And if you're trail braking, that means you're into the corner, so you're even losing more grip. And my foot was not
when you are trail
near.
braking, and this is why I try to use it to my advantages, and we talked about how the traction control spun me last time. So when you're trail braking, your front end is going to get light, and you have to be aware of that. And then, in fact, I use it to my...
The rear end gets light.
The rear end, what did I say?
Front end.
The front end.
I meant the rear end, yeah.
I was going to go with it for a second.
The rear end gets light, and it comes around on you. And in a lot of cases, I want that. But if you're not prepared for that, that could definitely freak you out.
Yeah. And at this point, you know, I'm not blending throttle and brakes like what Manny was saying. I'm more just looking for the time in between. And then the other thing about that is... in the middle of a turn, let's say you need a really small adjustment and lifting off the throttle, you're already off the throttle. Maybe you're still understeering. If you can easily give a quick stab to set the front end, maybe for decreasing radius, and get the nose to bite and the rear end to maybe come into rotation. So it's mostly that. At some point I'll start blending, but that's like another level of.
That's cool. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
So Peter, are you like us? Like, even though we're like in the car world all week long and Saturday and Sunday comes, we still do car stuff. Like, do you still do that, or do you get away and be like, oh, I don't want to look at another car?
No, I'm still through and through a car guy. If I'm not tinkering on something at the shop, I got my garage. I'm usually messing around with stuff in there. So my whole weekend was taking our project car for its maiden voyage.
Oh, nice.
I had to kind of shake it down and also film it for the first time too, because all of our reporting was due to Porsche on Monday. So I had to submit a video. I had to submit a recap. I had to submit 2 different PowerPoints on the 2 events we did with you guys. So my weekend was all cars. Nice. Saturday and Sunday, and then I try to find time for my personal stuff. Like I was telling you, I have an old E34 M5 and my 997, and my 996 actually got a bunch of water damage, so I had to, it leaked through the cowl and took out my immobilizer underneath the driver's seat. So I'm doing that right now. I just did the alternator in it, a month prior, and then it's always something on old cars. If you have old cars, you're always
there's always something.
There's always a list of to-dos, and so right now the 996. Now that I'm got the project car kind of almost done, I'm going to start focusing on my stuff again.
Nice. Yeah, so it was for me a rare opportunity to do autocrosses back-to-back weekends, and last weekend. The previous weekend was with Potomac. This weekend I was with the BM National Capital Chapter, BMW CCA, at Summit Point, and they had a test and tune. 20 runs. It was incredible, and it could have been more, but honestly, I was just like I was tired, and I also did a couple of rode with some people to instruct, and this is gonna be funny. We a kid walked up and recognized, I guess, my voice or my face from the podcast. He's like, "Oh, I'm also a PCA member." He came up in S2000, and he said, "I haven't been autocrossing in a while. I was wondering if I could have some pointers." I'm like, "Sure. Do you want to ride along?" And
did he ask for Damon then?
Yeah, right, exactly. Damon was not there, so he had to settle for me.
Thanks,
but
Manny.
the funny part is, he sits in, he's like, so how long have you been doing this? And I'm like, as I had to think back and say, I've been doing this since like 92, 93. He goes, "Man, that was before I was born." I'm like, get out of the car. No, just kidding. But it was really cool to see kind of a newbie's perspective, and talking about threshold braking, and showing him sort of and he really did take advantage of jumping in from different cars to see how different cars and different drivers reacted. The photo that's on YouTube right now is when I was at Potomac 2 weekends ago. I was just hoping that I could have a little bit more grip in the rear end, and honestly I just didn't have time to like change my sway bar settings or anything like that. I was like, so I remembered at one time, did you know that an MK1 aerokit rear wing, aka the taco wing, has adjustable blade positions? I didn't know that, and I don't know how. I
remember when Mike Levitas was racing IMSA, I guess. Maybe it was one of this lower race groups like Motorola or something.
Yeah.
Anyways, he used to run uprights with the taco wing raised much higher than in the factory, obviously.
Yeah, so, I was like, okay, this is something easy to do before I head out to Summit Point. And so I adjusted it to the maximum up position. And I don't know, how much it helped, other than like on the fast sweepers. I did feel, to me, again, it might just be in my head because I have the confidence, but I did feel like in the high speed sweepers, the back end was more planted. I also I lowered the rear tire pressure by 2 pounds. So I was running like 28 pounds in the back. And then I increased the pressure in the front tires 2 pounds, because I usually run 28 in the front, and I ran 30. So, but the combination of 30 front, 28 rear, taco wing, full tilt, the car ran fantastic. It really did. It was very predictable.
So you had higher temperature in the front than the rear.
Yes.
I was going to say that's really odd.
Yeah,
because I didn't. I wanted to lose a little bit of grip in the front. I wanted to lose a little bit of grip in the front, so that's why I went up 2 pounds, and I wanted more grip in the back. That's why I went
leave
down.
your comments at
maybe
It sounds like you're trying to adjust your tire pressures around another problem.
It is certainly possible. All I know is it equated into the car ran very well. And actually, I ran against a couple cars that I was at least 3 seconds behind at Potomac. And at this run, I was like a second behind. So it did improve. Maybe it was me. Maybe it was the course. Who knows? And that's the beauty of autocross is you have the opportunity to kind of play around and have some fun with it. So let's see. Let's get into the restoration challenge and just remind folks, if you don't mind, Peter, remind folks what the classic restoration challenge is.
Yeah, so the restoration challenge is something Porsche puts on this is their 5th year doing it. They invite all of their dealerships to kind of be challenged. We have like certain things we have to meet every year for marketing spend, and this can be one of those things that can go towards that if we participate. And so the dealerships get to choose 3 different categories to enter into. There's the restoration category, which would take a car and put it back exactly the way it came from the factory. Then you have a preservation category, and there's some mileage and year restrictions on this, so it has to have over 70,000 miles on it, so you can't just find some showroom, queen that, there's nothing wrong with it. You actually have a car that was driven, and you have to preserve it. So you can only repaint 25% of the car instead of reupholstering the whole interior. You have to kind of refinish it and preserve it. And then there's the individualization category, the one we're in. And this is where you can have your creative freedom to kind of do whatever you want to any Porsche model that's considered a classic.
So I guess they prefer you to use Porsche classic parts whenever possible?
Yeah, so part of the judging process, there's a whole list of things we get judged on. It's 1,000 points. Part of it is the marketing we do throughout the year. Part of it is documenting the process, the video we have to submit, and then half of it is the quality of the car. And so there's certain categories where they'll say, engine, use of genuine Porsche parts. And so that'd be worth 20 points. And then you'll kind of go down the list of suspension and brakes. So there's certain things that will say use of genuine Porsche parts next to it. And then there's just certain things that, for wheels, are they appropriate? So there'll be certain things like that.
I guess for our listeners, this wasn't always the case with Porsche. You would never tell anyone to take their older Porsche to a dealer. Because they would say, these guys have never seen an air-cooled car. Don't take your car there.
Right.
And that has changed over the past, 15, 20 years maybe, since Porsche Classic really came up to the scene. And they started pushing like this restoration challenge. And Porsche themselves, I remember with PCA, they restored a 73T. And they wanted to show the world that they still could work on their own cars from the past. And I think the individualization is pretty cool, because one of the other things that you're always told was a dealer will not do anything. If your car has modifications, don't take it to the dealer because they won't touch it. Right. And now you're seeing dealers that do mods and will put stuff on your car. So it's pretty interesting to see the evolution of the dealer.
That's the exact word I was just thinking of, is the evolution of the dealerships and the evolution of the customer in wanting, certain things done to their car, but then also Porsche themselves evolving to making sure that they have all these parts available to these older models, because without their support in making this stuff, it would make ownership very difficult.
Right. Yeah. And it's, in the world of, these finding just technicians that have that experience, I'm fortunate enough. I have a tech that's been working on and off for Porsche and Audi for the past 30 years. So he's seen a lot of these cars when they were brand new. And so he's kind of my go-to going, hey, I have a 993 Targa that's having issues with their roof. And he's just going, oh man, because he's done it before.
He knows what's
done
involved
it before, and he knows exactly what it takes to take those apart and get them working right. And
if they're factory trained or they're going to the training course, and that's
just that process of getting all those little motors in the back to sync up right, so that roof doesn't bind. And so
is his normal response close it and disconnect the button?
No, he kind of likes to shake his head at me and just go, oh. But we try to, we want to support the classic community. It doesn't make sense to say, oh no, we don't want to work on those cars. And that's what I'm passionate about. I love old cars. I love analog, mechanical, that sensation you get of driving an older vehicle like that with no driver aids.
But I think that also comes with the attitude or the passion the dealership owners, the dealership management has, because let's face it, it's much easier to just remove and replace modern stuff, right? And just bill out like constantly, as opposed to when you get into these projects, sometimes you're kind of married to them. So you have to have some sort of passion for doing this and wanting to provide this service to the customer. And I think that's what Porsche Classic expects. And when you become a Porsche Classic dealer, they know that you believe in that too.
Right. Exactly.
And they provide the parts. I forgot how many thousands, I think, of parts Classic adds to their catalog every year. And I tell people, I go, there's a form, or not a form, but a button on their website that you can hit, and you can put on there the part that you're looking for that they don't have available. And if they get enough requests, they'll start making it.
And it happened
to my friend with his 964 body part. He needed it, and they didn't make it. They said, we get 5 orders, we'll make it for you. And he waited, and he got it.
I ran into that with this car, but I didn't have the time to wait. So I had to get 3D printing involved on some of the parts we did. Yeah.
Wow.
Hopefully that sends a message. So we'll talk to Alex.
Yeah. When the dealer decides to embark on the Classic Restoration Challenge, is the budget purely on the dealership?
It's up to our discretion what we're willing to spend. It's not necessarily like a fair fight either. Some of these dealerships, I've seen the builds they do. Like the guy, I think he won last year. That was a very impressive build. He was in Area East, so I went up against him, for the regional competition. He went on to win the whole thing. He was the Grand National Championship. And the car, you could just tell that they sunk a lot of money into it. And it was a beautiful car.
And this is the dealer's car. This isn't a customer's car, right?
That one was a customer's car.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, so
you're allowed to have a customer.
If you're fortunate to have a customer backing the build, that's a win. That's great. For some, on our case, we buy the cars the past 2 years. We bought them ourselves, and then we built them, and we sold last year's car to a customer up in Massachusetts. And we're going to be doing the same thing with this car. Once we're done doing the whole challenge, we'll list it for sale. I think the gentleman who has a deposit on it right now listened to the podcast we did last time, called me up a couple weeks later going, I loved everything you said. I want the car, without even seeing it.
So where do we submit our commission check? Commission invoice, I mean?
Yeah. So what's the next project?
Right. Not every dealership, they get to decide how much they're willing to invest, because to them, it's got to make sense at the end. Is it going to be worthwhile for their investment, and, it's going to make the dealership money, and all those kind of things are kind of factored in.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome that, honestly, an insider interview or discussion led to someone to their next dream car.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I was blown away. I was very flattered that he was that enthusiastic of just the ideas I had for it without even seeing it.
So with the last one, once it was brought back, then you're just putting it for sale, like as a.
Yeah. Once the car came back, we were in Chicago last year. We just cleaned it up, took a bunch of photos of it, put it on the showroom floor. Took a couple months to sell that one because it was such a unique build, an off-road, C4S. But I couldn't have been happier with the gentleman who bought it. He loves the car. He keeps sending me photos of it. He's been off-roading it.
It was Tom's friend, remember?
Yeah.
He was the perfect guy to buy that car.
I think we might even see that car at one of the ports when we're at Truck Mart.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. So let's get into the details, but before we do that, I want to make sure we thank our latest corporate sponsor, and that is Auto Atlanta. Are you chasing down any Porsche parts? Maybe like Peter, and they're maybe impossible to find. Well, if you're restoring a 944 Turbo or 914 like I am, looking for something for your 911 SE, either way, Auto Atlanta has you covered. They've been taking care of Porsches and only Porsches since 1978. They have parts for pretty much every Porsche. They can ship internationally. They offer expert tech advice as well. So no matter where you are in the world, all you got to do is head over to autoatlanta.com. They have a team of all-star Porsche specialists to help you over the phone, complex mechanical repairs to full restorations, regular service, or even detailing your car. And if you're buying or maybe even selling your Porsche, pre-owned vehicles, they have those too. If there's a Porsche in your garage that needs a new home or new lease on life, call them. They'll might even buy your Porsche. Whether you're rebuilding your classic or a single clip to finish a project, Auto Atlanta has you covered. Head to autoatlanta.com. Don't forget, there's a discount code of 5%, PCA, the number 5, OFF. Again, AutoAtlanta.com. Porsche parts, Porsche people, Porsche passion since 1978.
So before we move on, are you still going to be restoring a 914 2 years from now just to keep them as a sponsor? So you can say that every time.
I think it is independent of whether or not.
So I would say start restoring, because you have not started restoring.
I haven't started restoring, and
You've taken apart.
I've taken apart.
And anyone can turn a wrench left.
I know.
Guilty of that. I've taken apart a car. And
Gosh, why does it? So I will say the very first part I bought for my 914 when I brought it home from Oklahoma is because I think I shared with you that one of my calipers froze, and then as soon as I got it home, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put all 4 new calipers on the car and get me on my way to my 914 experience. So my first part that I bought, which was this was in 2007, and they were pretty rare. It was finding, and I'll ask Manny because he'll know, the rear brake calipers were really rare for a 914. And why is that?
They're not so much rare as that they're a little harder to adjust than the fronts. I wouldn't say they're rare though.
Back then they were rare because I tried. Finding them at a reasonable price. Maybe it was rare. Okay, maybe I have to clarify. It's been so long. It's been so long
It's
since
rare finding a GT3 RS for 100,000. Yeah,
I was in my first year of college when you picked that car up.
Oh gosh, get out of the room. Get out of the room. So maybe that's what it was. It was me finding.
The good news, like I've told you hundreds of times, is that the car has gone up in value since you bought it.
Yes.
914s now are very desirable. It's rust free.
It is.
Yeah. So, I think it'd be a perfect project for Porsche Owings Mills to restore next year.
Hey, I know a guy.
Think about all the press,
go.
all the press. Think about all the press they would get from.
Let's talk.
914.
We need a project car for next year.
And then you could have your son drive it to his graduation.
Wow. Okay, I like the direction.
His son has never seen this car.
Never seen
My
it.
youngest son has never seen it. My 2 oldest have pictures in it, but my youngest has only heard about pumpkin.
The myth and the rumor. Of
Yeah. All right, we'll talk later about that.
Okay.
But back into your project at hand here. Obviously, we mentioned it earlier. That's the 996. Tell us about the condition a bit, and then the process, because we talked about it before.
I'm just going to say, if you want me to bring up a specific picture for our YouTube viewers, just let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to try and find them as we talking.
Well, can I say why 996?
Why 996? It's been interesting. I've never really thought of myself as like a 996 guy until maybe like last year when I was really starting to look for them for the last year's project car, and we ended up going with the C4S, the 2004. And then just being in that car, I really started to appreciate them. Like, these cars for the longest time have kind of like languished as the black sheep of the 911s. People just like, oh, they ugly headlights. They got IMS bearing issues. They got bore scoring issues. The interior is awful. Like, they were just anything they could find wrong with a car, they just would say it. And so, and I think I was kind of guilty of that too, especially when the 997 came out right after. You're like, oh, this is a much superior car. But I've grown to love those cars for what they really are. I think the design of them has aged very well. When they're cleaned up right, they're a very good looking car. Like your car with that, when it has the aerokit on it, I think it's a gorgeous car.
I've always loved it. And I've taken the beating, right? I've taken the beating for decades of owning that car but now I feel like especially the dot one cars with the original headlights.
Yeah.
I think people really appreciate them now. And in fact, they look at a 997 front end now and they go, oh, that's kind of plain.
Yeah, plain, generic. You don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I will buy your plain 997 any day.
And I argue like those headlights are the GT1 headlights.
You got it. I've been saying that. I've been saying that all along. We're finally getting our day.
So I think their values are going to start coming up, especially the aerokit cars. I think they're next. But they're just, especially the 99s. I love those the most because they're kind of that bridge. They're that from transitioning from the air-cooled 993s. There's still some kind of older characteristics to them. I mean, they still kind of feel like a vintage 911. They still have that analog feeling to them. They have that cable throttle body.
Yeah.
There's no driver assist to them. They're light. They're, by today's standards, it's a really small.
It's a small car now.
Small car.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, if you're looking for that kind of that pure driving experience where you're going to feel the road, with the hydraulic steering, and I just think that's a platform that they're not super expensive to maintain either. There's plenty of parts available for them. I think they're a great platform. And when we were looking for cars, we went kind of down through the gambit. There was a 85 911 I was pitching to, the dealership to buy. I even found a Silver Rose 944 Turbo S that was stolen in 89 and had been missing for 30 some plus years. I thought it was a great story, but title issues kind of held that one up. And then we ended up looking at the auction sites, and this car we found out in Utah. I actually saw it for sale the year prior when I was bought the C4S, and the car still hadn't sold. I mean, it was in rough shape. I mean, it just looked neglected. It was one owner, 72,000 original miles. So on paper, it started sounding really good.
I think it was a kind of a pedestrian color, too.
It was beige on beige,
Yeah.
Toyota Camry, color combo. But it had good bones to it. It was, rust free, low mileage. It was kind of I looked at it like a blank canvas.
And you knew you were going to redo it. So
and I knew that,
yeah. Really
so, for underneath the car, I knew that I wouldn't have to worry about structural issues and had never been in an accident. I was going to have to go through the whole thing entirely, engine, suspension, brakes, all that kind of stuff. But we were already planning on doing that. So it was kind of, it fit the bill, and I always wanted to build like a GT3 tribute. That was the car we never got. The first generation GT3 was Europe only, and that's my dream car to get one of those. I'd love to import one.
Yeah.
So I wanted to build something that was kind of paid tribute to that, somewhere in between a base Carrera and a GT3, kind of club sportish. And then it snowballed into doing a wide body because we bought the wrong wheels. But it ended up doing some of the stuff that I've always seen on the forums, guys like, how can I get the turbo bumper on a narrow body car? And so that was something I always wanted to do, get those rear, grills on the rear bumper on a car like that. And then it turned into a very fun build and a rewarding build. And I'm very happy the way it turned out.
Yeah, that's what I remember from the last time you were here, that the project sort of took a turn with the wheels, because instead of getting new wheels, you got new wheels, but they weren't the right offset. And the solution to that was not getting another set of wheels.
No.
The solution to that was doing bodywork.
Right.
That's like the most guy thing ever. Yeah, not to sell the wheels to get the right wheels, but we're going to make this thing fit.
Yeah.
Well, it ended up being, we didn't build a restoration around the car. We ended up building a car around the wheels.
Yeah, exactly.
And it snowballed a lot more than I thought. All the little extra parts that you wouldn't think you'd have to get. So, like I got the wheels. All right. Well, now I need a wide body rear bumper. All right. Now I need the brackets that attach to the rear bumper. I need the wheel well liners. And then I need the bumperettes, because the turbos and C4Ss have different style bumperettes. And then those don't fit onto the rear brace support behind that. So I got to buy the rear brace support. It just kept going.
Okay. I didn't realize that.
And then there's all the little trim that goes around the exhaust. And then I had to get custom made tailpipes, because if I'm using narrow body mufflers, aren't the same as the C4S, but it just kept going.
That's like the person who I warned when they cleaned they fixed their speedometer and odometer. And I go, just be aware that when you get it back, that speedometer is going to look brand new, because they're going to clean it.
Right.
And it's going to make your other gauges look like crap. So now you're going to clean that. That's going to make your dash look terrible, because the gauges look new in the dash.
Yep.
So I said, and pretty soon you're going to have the whole car taken apart, all because you wanted to fix the odometer.
Yeah.
So that's what it sounds like.
Before we get to the details of the wide body and all that, am I good to show our YouTube viewers what the car looks like now?
Yeah, go for it.
Let's do that, because it looks really good.
Yeah, there it is.
Wow. Yep. And you can barely tell that it's a wide body from certain angles.
No, I said, as soon as I saw it, I said, this is what I think they should have. I never had a problem with the headlights. It was the slab-sidedness of the car.
Yeah.
It lost the Carrera flares that the 993, its predecessor, had. And I think they did a great job of.
Manny, maybe describe the car to people that aren't watching on YouTube.
Well, what color is it?
So it is amethyst metallic is the color we chose. Our body shop went a little creative flair with it. They put a flow coat on top, so it makes it kind of have that darker look. So when you get right on top of it, you see all that depth.
Yeah.
My wife said it had a little purple to it. She said.
Oh, amethyst metallic.
I couldn't see it, but it's a striking color. And we'll hear about how they widen the rear end, but it's very subtle. And you probably won't notice unless you have another 996 next to
right.
it.
And that's how the C4Ss were when you looked at them. It was a very subtle wide body.
But the rear looks really, really awesome.
Yeah, when you have a straight shot of the rear of the car, you can really see it. It looks mean.
Then he told us that they actually moved the front out a little bit too.
Oh, those wheels were weird. They're a weird offset. So I'm not sure what Gemballa was doing back then, if they had some sort of their own aerokit they were putting on the cars, but the rears stuck out a little too far, and even the fronts were out a little too far. So,
if you're a 996 aficionado, you're going to notice stuff right away.
Yeah.
If you're a casual Porsche enthusiast, you're just going to see a really good-looking car with an aerokit, aggressive stance, great-looking wheels.
Go back, Damon.
996 people are probably going to be wondering, how can I do this to my car?
So the amethyst metallic, the wheel, Gemballa wheels are now gold, but what color?
Neodyne gold.
Neodyne gold.
Yeah.
The fenders are flared out perfectly to the edge of the tires.
Well, we had to. So that's even a funny story about that too. So we got wheels that were slightly too wide. We widened the car to the specs of a wide body, and I still had to push my wheels out a little farther.
Oh, really?
I'm running a 10 millimeter wheel spacer in the back now too.
Oh, so you went further. It went further than the.
It
wheel.
went further
than the wheel needed.
What size tire did you end up using?
It's a 285 on that wheel. I probably could have gone a 290. Well, I bought those tires before I decided to go wide body. That was the biggest tire I thought I could squeeze in a narrow body.
So, do you know the dimensions of the width now versus a wide body car? Is it wider than a wide body car?
The fender should be almost exactly what a factory C4S should be.
Because you matched it to the rear
We matched
bumper.
to that rear bumper.
Okay,
So we think we gained about 1.5 inches to 2 inches per side in width.
But you didn't use any wide body work. You guys did it yourself.
Yeah, because we wanted to do it, something that Porsche would have done. So we did it the old school way, with a hammer, and he did it all by hand. I was blown away by how he did it. We didn't cut any of the metal, no grafting. I was amazed on how he was able to sculpt that rear shape to make it look like it was done from the factory.
So he was able to shape and extend that without pulling the fender off the car.
No. So he got that rear bumper on there, pulled the metal out to match where he wanted the width to be, and then he slowly worked his way up to shape it to like that nice contour to make it look like it was done from the factory.
Wow, respect.
Yeah, but up until this photo, I think I can do that at home.
Yeah, right. You're like, I'll just take a baseball bat and run it back and forth a couple of times.
No, but Tim he's a very talented guy, and we're very lucky to have him at our body shop.
Is it still a sunroof car? Did you keep the sunroof?
Kept the sunroof. Okay. Yeah, didn't have time for that. There were certain things, if we had 2 years to do this car, I could have gone, full rotisserie on it, and we could have really done some custom stuff to it. But within the 4 months we had to do the car, this was pushing it.
So C4, I see C4S rear bumper, aerokit side skirts, aerokit front end, and then you also did the taco wing.
Yeah,
on the back.
I love that taco wing.
I know.
It's my favorite wing Porsche ever did.
Damon, can you go to the interior? Because I thought I saw some cool stuff on the interior. Because originally it was beige.
Right.
But it seems as though you broke it up with introducing some black.
Yeah, and so I kind of took inspiration. We had a ST that got delivered a couple months prior to doing this car, and they had a really nice two-tone. The brown they were using there was a little darker, but it was a two-tone interior and it really made it seem like it was a classy. It broke up that all beige look. So I wanted
all the glare too.
Right.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to mimic that. So that's why we painted the dash. We got a different color steering wheel, black carpet. We did some, had the carpet on the door panels. That was a nightmare to do too. Those were all plastic riveted in there.
Oh.
So to disassemble that door panel was a bear. But we got it a really nice two-tone looking interior, and then the centerpiece is really those seats. Those are factory replica GT3 seats.
Nice. And you they came in that color, or did you have to have it?
I had to custom order them that way. So they're from England.
Okay.
And I was a little nervous because anytime you're reupholstering a seat, especially a tan seat, it's really hard to match old tan versus new tan.
Gotcha.
And I had to approve it just by a picture via email, and they're going, this is the closest we got. I was crossing my fingers, and please, when they show up, please be close. And I was very happy how close of a match it was to the original Savannah Beige.
You went from a 3-spoke wheel to a 4-spoke wheel, but that 4-spoke wheel also looks like the diameter of the they look like it's a thicker rimmed wheel.
So I found this wheel on eBay. I love a 3-spoke wheel. I put one in my 996. Yeah. They demand a lot more money.
Yeah.
But this one was completely remanufactured, so it had a brand new leather wrap on it. Like you said, I think they did a little bit thicker.
Yeah, it looks good.
The 4-spoke kind of reminds me of the very early cars.
Sure.
Too. So this was a 99. I was like, it's kind of fitting. I'm going to put the very first, early wheel on there before the 3-spoke was available.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
The white gauge faces, were they already on the car?
Those were factory, and
okay.
We kind of toyed with playing around with the color of the gauge faces, but my sales manager, he was like, Pete, how rare those were? Like, that was a good option to have back then. So I was like, all right, I'll leave them alone. So we replaced all the little digital screens in the bottom, how those pixelate. Mm-hmm. So I had that sent out to have those all redone.
I see the shifter, of course, the shifter knob is new, but is the shifter mechanism new?
So yeah, the shifter mechanism, we took one out of a 997.
Nice.
So we put, that's such an easy swap. Anyone has
one of the best upgrades.
Yeah. Anyone has a 996. You could do it in a day or an afternoon, really. Just the console comes out fairly easily. Yeah. It's 4 bolts that hold that shifter assembly in.
It really does change the characteristic of not too short, not too notchy, but perfect.
Yeah. And then we topped it off with a handmade Carrera GT style wooden shift knob.
Now the body kit that is on the air, it looks like an aerokit and stuff, but it's by Getty.
By Getty, yeah. At first, I was trying to source an original one, but to find an original aerokit, piece it all together, one that's in good shape that hasn't been beat up, you're shelling out some big bucks for that, even if you can find it.
Are those available through Porsche Classic anymore or no?
I don't think so. I think you can get part of it. I think you can get the front bumper. I think that wing is impossible to get.
Really?
But especially in the time frame we had, like you said, I could probably order one from Porsche and they'd wait till they had enough orders before they would send it to me. So we went ahead. Getty's got a great reputation for the quality kits they make.
A lot of our club racers use Getty, don't they, Manny?
Yeah. And the wing, that fit very well. I was very impressed in how well that deck lid just kind of bolted right up, and we didn't have to do a whole lot to it.
Nice. The color, the amethyst metallic, was that your choosing, or did you have like a group decision, or?
It was, so yeah, our GM and I, we kind of sat down and looked at a lot of different colors. Amethyst is one that, it's just such a beautiful color. I don't know why Porsche didn't offer it more years. They brought it back briefly on the Cayenne. I think it was 17 or 18, something like that.
Yeah.
But it's such a pretty color, and I think on a 911, it's just.
Yeah, my sister's favorite color is purple, and I remember when they came out with that. And she was also potentially shopping for a Cayenne. I sent it to her, and she fell in love with it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful color.
So did the decision to paint the wheels come after the car was painted?
After the car was painted.
So you looked at it, okay.
Yeah, and I was looking at, Googling amethyst metallic 911s to kind of see what colors went with each other, especially with our Savannah Beige interior. I kind of toyed with, like, I keep the wheels silver, then I'll probably do like a silver stripe down the side or even a black stripe down the side. I saw a GT3, I think it was an 18 or a 19, and it was amethyst metallic with neodyne gold wheels, and that same side, I could order that same side stripe in neodyne gold, and so that was kind of the decision maker. Let's repaint the wheels, let's put the matching gold side stripe on it, and kind of tie the whole car together. I think it really kind of makes the interior tie together with the wheels and everything, and it kind of just brings it all together.
So I like the neodyne color. I was thinking of painting my MY02s that
Okay.
color, but my question was, how did you get the center caps to match? Did you paint the center caps?
Painted those too.
Okay.
And it's really hard. Like in the photos here, it's a very hard color to photograph. It almost color shifts.
Huh.
Like in these photographs, it looks a little bit more yellow. Where you see it in person, it's got more of like a matte finish, and the light really kind of reflects off it differently. So
And that's painted, not
not powder coated. Yeah, it's painted.
It's painted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the center caps on those Gemballa wheels were metal, so they were pretty easy to paint, and the crest was elevated, so we just taped them off and painted around them.
Suspension wise, it looks like it's sitting lower than stock.
Yeah. So last time we talked about Bilsteins or Conies, and we talked about MO30s,
Right.
springs.
Yeah.
But after I saw the wide body work being done, I got really kind of unsure of that decision. I really wanted to have control over the ride height and being able to adjust it all. So we ended up going with some Owens coilovers.
Well.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. We joked about my GM and I were going,
No expensive spirit apparently.
after we decided to go wide body, we just kept saying full send. Just send it. Whatever the car needs, do it.
These the road and track coilovers?
These are the road and track ones.
Those aren't actually super expensive. You can
Lovely
go a lot
lovely
more.
choice.
Yeah.
What is not exactly
I was
super
about to-
expensive?
So I picked those up for $3,400.
Yeah.
For a set of
A
coilovers.
set of JRZs is going to be 10,
No,
15.
that's actually probably, and I
Yeah.
guess they're probably not as hard to adjust as a full race.
Right.
Because I always tell people, I go, unless you got a pit crew that's monitoring tire temperatures and pressures and whatnot, that's going to be hard to set.
And I was blown away by these. I installed them myself. I was kind of shorthanded in the shop that week, and we had a 2-week deadline to get the car ready for you guys. So I actually installed them. I was amazed on how easy it was to put them in. The instructions they gave me, I measured out everything a couple of times, made sure it was right, put them in, and out of the box, I drove this car last weekend. It handled great.
Oh yeah,
I haven't even dialed it in yet.
When Damon got his and we went out for a test drive, oh man, I was so jealous. I was so jealous because it rides, I would say, very much like a GT3 where it's very compliant, but then when you get onto it and get into, make it flex and make it do its thing, it's so sweet.
And that's what we were kind of going for.
It's such a nice balance.
I really wanted to pay homage to that first GT3, and it had coilovers on it.
Yeah.
So I wanted something that was kind of going to mimic that, and I think Olin's were the only way really to go with it.
What'd you do with sway bars?
Sway bars, we left them stock.
Yeah.
This car, I think if someone was really wanting to go track it and run it hard, then yeah, you'd probably upgrade the sway bars. But I think for the street, if you're just kind of going through back roads, it's plenty.
I agree. That's what we did with Project 964.
Yeah.
Having had a 964 when I put big sway bars on,
Yeah.
it's there's a lot to be said. Most of your driving is going to be street,
Right.
Not
Yeah. So we wanted to make sure the car was still comfortable enough on the streets where you could still have fun with it, but not, break your back every time you get in the car.
So what about the heart of the car, the engine and the transmission? What condition was it in, and what did you have to do with it?
It was like when I first got the car, engine ran great, nice and smooth idle.
How many miles?
72,000.
Oh man, that's so.
It had great oil pressure. Clutch was gone in it, so I didn't really get to drive the car when we first got it. But we dropped the whole engine transmission out.
I see you did the airbox upgrade.
I did the airbox upgrade,
Nice.
so it's got a 997 airbox. We did a custom emblem on that too, so it says 3.4 instead of 3.6.
Nice.
Other than looking better, does it do anything else?
Well, I don't know. People say it's better airflow, a better design. I don't know how to really test that, but that's what the internet says.
There we go.
And the internet can't be wrong.
Right?
The forums are never wrong.
Yeah, but it's a more visually appealing airbox for sure, and that's why I wanted to go with it.
And did it already have, or did you do the IMS upgrade?
It had the IMS done at some point in its life. I don't know when. We pulled it out, but I put a fresh LN bearing in there because when we had the clutch out, might as well, new rear main seal. All the seals on the engine were replaced. Anything that was leaking, new air oil separator on it. All like the vacuum stuff on top of the engine was replaced. Had the intake off. Did all the seals on there. Really just tried to freshen it up. New plugs, new coils, full tune up on it.
Man.
So whoever gets it's going to get a car that's ready to go.
This car, yeah. That person that has a deposit, good on you that you jumped on it, because this is a heck of a body.
And then it has the Pfister mufflers on it too.
Okay.
So it sounds amazing too. Yeah, I got in it too a little bit. It's got a great soundtrack.
Nice. And for those that don't know, the Fister modifications really is trying to emulate the very rare, which I'm happy to say that I have. It tries to emulate the factory sport exhaust of the early 996. They're super rare to find. But man, they sound so good.
They sound so good.
So good. And the Fister mufflers.
And they did a full restore. Like, so they refinished them. I wish I could show them off, with the bumper off the car.
Yeah.
Because they're beautiful mufflers. The finish they did on them was just great. The restoration they did on them for me.
Any other part of the car that we're forgetting about that was touched, massaged?
I think those were kind of the main things, with the lightweight flywheel we did. I don't know if I mentioned that.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Flywheel.
Yeah, because the GT3 had a lightweight single mass in it, their first one. So we kind of wanted to do as much as I could do without putting a Metzger motor in it, breaking the bank.
Yeah.
We tried to emulate that as much as we could. So it's got a lightweight flywheel in it as well.
How does that feel engagement-wise?
I love it. It's a very quick engagement. It revs very fast. You do get a little chatter, when you're at a stoplight, but if you're a car guy, you know what it is. You don't really care.
Right.
But I love the way when I drove it over the weekend, I was blown away how well it was out of the box without me really having to do any fine tuning yet, which we're going to do in the next couple of weeks.
And where does it go next?
So September 5th, it's going to get on a transport to go to New York. And Porsche is doing the Area East judging at the Classic Car Club of Manhattan.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be up there they judge it on the 6th. They'll have the VIP event where they announce the class winners. Mm-hmm. And then Sunday, it'll be open to the public where you can come vote for People's Choice.
Okay.
Or my car,
Nice. Exactly. One and the same.
Yeah.
And then if you prove yourself and do well there, the finals is...
should be out in California. I haven't looked at the details on that yet. I don't know if they've announced the time and location on the nationals yet.
I don't think they had when I was looking.
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay.
But did we already go over what the winner gets?
Oh, yeah. So
it's pretty interesting when we were talking about this earlier.
So they changed the rules a bit this year because last year it's tough going and you walk home empty handed.
Yeah.
But this year they kind of sweetened the pot. So if you make it to the judging, so if we make it to New York, you get awarded another sports car allocation for your dealership.
Oh, nice.
So that would essentially mean probably a Boxster or a Cayman, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
If you win your class, so if you win your restoration or preservation class, you get a 992 turbo allocation.
Ooh.
Yeah.
If you win People's Choice, you get another 992 turbo allocation.
Oh.
And then you get to go to nationals where you get a whole nother round of, if you win your class, another 992 turbo allocation, People's Choice, another allocation.
Okay.
And Grand National winner, another allocation.
Nice.
So you have the potential, say if you won everything, you could win 5 cars for the dealership.
That's huge.
And that would...
Especially those cars.
Especially those cars.
Those cars.
You got to look at it from a sales standpoint where the profit they make on sell, because they're just allocating it. We're not getting the car for free.
Right.
We're buying the car from Porsche, but it's
unexpected. You weren't expecting
Yeah.
that
Because you have the waiting list, guys are in line for a 911.
Oh, yeah.
Now I have an extra car or an extra 2 cars to give to our customers. That's huge.
You're getting a turbo. You're getting all the nice sweet options.
Right.
Maybe PTS if that's available.
We'll be building it up.
Some exclusive stuff on there. Yeah,
exactly.
That's a big deal. And then hopefully in dollars and cents wise, it kind of offsets how much you've spent.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, we're still gonna sell the car. So
we make money from that. Right?
We'll make money from that. I bill it out at cost. For the dealership. So I'm not doing it full book, but we'll build the car. What we have into the car, buying it, what we have in the body work and paint, and then mechanical upgrades, and they'll sell it for a small profit. But that have its own little incentive there. But hopefully we walk away with a allocation or 2 for the dealership. That'd be amazing.
How many hours do you think you've talking about billing? I've kept track roughly.
I'm probably without the body shop, just on my side of it, I'm probably into it for like 40, 50 hours.
Oh,
it's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, some of it I did myself, so I didn't bill myself.
Wow. Anything that you would have done differently now that the car is done?
It's a tough one. These were all kind of boxes I was able to check on things I've always wanted to do to a 996. if I could have had more time and more money, like I said, I probably would have rotisserie the whole car and just redone the whole thing. But I'm very happy the way the paint turned out. I'm very happy the way the bodywork turned out. The interior, the whole car kind of came together. I was very pleased with it. Yeah.
I think it goes to a wider audience. If whoever put the deposit doesn't buy it, it's still a easier car to sell before you modify it so much that it becomes so individualized that.
And that's kind of my own personal taste with cars. I love some cars. My 997, I haven't changed a thing on it except the radio. I put the PCCM Plus in it. Mm-hmm. That car is 100% stock. My M5, I've done some suspension work because the car sat too high when it was from brand new. But I love to do mods where you can't really tell if that was factory or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's what I like to do is like, you have to really look at the car and go, was this the way how it came, or is this something that was done after the fact?
Yeah, that's the best when they're like Easter eggs. Like you have to look for them and you go, oh, that's a nice little touch.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's all in the details. Yeah, I try to do a lot of little small detail work where you're like, oh, that's a nice touch they did to it. That shouldn't be there, but it all goes together.
Well, congratulations to the person that has the deposit because you are already the winner. I'm just going to say that right now, but best of luck in the competitions. I hope you make it to finals where we'll get to see the car again. And well done. Very well done. And I wish there was a way to get that car to Unstock too, because I think that would do really well. Letting the West Coast see
control all the West Coast guys.
yeah, exactly. All right, folks, I want to remind you to head over to PCA.org and sign up for PCA's newsletters, performance news, e-brake news, and Mart Fresh news. And let's get into the news. The first item we have is Penske Motorsports at Road America.
So they did not win. They finished fifth. And did you know that a Penske car has never finished below fifth in IMSA this year?
Wow.
And I mean, their second car finished, I think, 11th because they got a stop and go penalty. But even though they finished fifth, they still moved up in the standings. So they're still leading the championship with 3 races, I think, to go.
Wow.
So let's hope they get another IMSA championship.
Very cool. And this has been the next news items has been all over social media because people have been clamoring with the idea that the gas powered Macans were going away, and we are faced with just EVs, so to speak, in that class. But is it true? Is it true that there perhaps might be a gasoline powered?
This is based on an investor call, and Oliver Bluma indicated that they would be coming out with a Macan again. I think they want to keep the Macan line with the EV, but another SUV, small SUV, gas, which leads to a lot of speculation. It's got to come from the VW Audi family, and we went to all the presentations when the Macan first came out, and how much work they had to do in that, because everyone said, well, it's just a Q5 with new bodywork, but it was actually a lot of work they had to make it to make it like a Porsche. So I would imagine they are working triple overtime in Wysock right now to get this car up to market pretty quickly. And I know people are probably saying, why don't they just keep on making the Macan since they're making it? But
they can't.
I believe that's the reason. The reason why they stopped making that in the Cayman was the European laws. It's not as simply just saying let's keep the assembly line running. It
doesn't meet the new standards.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I guess the question begs is, if the Macan was, people were saying Q5, and you need a smaller subcompact SUV, then that's the Q3.
Well, I think the Q5, they just came out with a new version. They're still making that car.
Yeah.
From what I've been reading, I thought about the Q33, and I'm like, whoa, that's really small.
That's small, yeah.
But it may be because of Q5 they're sold. That to me would be if they have an updated version.
I see
that platform.
Massage the new Q5.
What do they call it?
But don't call it the Macan.
Yeah, I mean, Macan seems like the easiest because they already have an established market. But would it take away from the EV and
how interesting the market, EV, gas, and man, can you imagine being the manufacturer trying to dial all this in, try to forecast, quantities and production, and man, someone's earning their pay.
It will be interesting to see if Oliver Bluma is still the CEO of Porsche at the end of this year. right? Within a year, rather.
Yeah.
Because I think it's still BBW, but will he still hold both positions?
Right.
That's a lot of pressure, and who would have thought 2 years ago that we'd be talking about tariffs? It was something I don't think that they thought was going to really happen, but it's evidently happening.
Yeah.
So,
Wow. All right. Upcoming PCA events. PCA's open house is September 13th. Registration is open. Treffin at Sea, our 70th anniversary cruise, heading out of New York, August 30th to September 6th. A little plug in for our locals that are listening here in the Maryland DMV area. TPC Racing is going to be hosting Alan Springer. Alan Springer's coming on the cruise with us, but he's going to stop by here at the PCA National Office before he hops on the cruise. And TPC has invited him, and the Chesapeake region and the Potomac region. There should be some details out for you to be able to there. It's going to be a Friday evening. Should be a nice time. We're doing some charity parking, so on and so forth.
I'm smiling because if you've never heard Alwyn speak, he's the most straight shooter person.
Unfiltered.
Holds nothing back.
Unfiltered.
He has some great stories about how things used to be. But like I told Vu, I said this morning, I said, well, he's going to be able to tell us behind the scenes of the 963 program, because up until last year, I think he was going to every race as a consultant. So it's not like he ended in 1980s racing. He's been involved all through the 963.
He's in the paddock. He is in the paddock.
They rely on his expertise a lot. So I think if you come to the event, it's going to be. Is it limited to how many?
I think they're limiting to 100 folks.
Oh, yeah, fill up fast.
So it'll fill up fast. And if you have any questions, just drop us an email. We'll get you the details. Unstock, we talked about that earlier. Perfect place for your car. But if you can't make it, but those of you in the West Coast can, it's going to be November 16th at Porsche of Santa Clarita. Beautiful facility, and we should have a great time. We've got lots of vendors are going to be there. We've got all the modified Porsches from the West Coast is going to be there. And looking forward to that. Latest video dropped, the Elva Porsche.
Yeah, so you might recognize the name, Joe Buzetta. He raced he was a Porsche factory driver. I believe it was 64 to 69. He won the 1,000 kilometers of the Nürburgring in a Porsche 910, which is one of their last street legal prototype race cars. And he raced everything, on the lower end up to the 910, and also for other manufacturers. One of the cars he raced was something called an Elva Porsche, which Elva was a company in England. They made the chassis, and then you could put whatever motor you wanted into it. And I think a couple of them, this one in particular, had a Carrera 4-cam engine in it, flat 4-cam engine. And at some point, Joe Buzetta Jr., the original son, ended up buying it, and he owns it now. So we went out and filmed a video in, I think it was August 2023, before Rennsport 7. And we just released that video. And Joe Buzetta Jr. just goes through, talks about the car.
We were at the Ingram Experience, was that it?
Yeah, driving experience. Yeah, they invited us.
Yep. Yeah. So just a little bit of history about the car. We don't dive too deep into it, but it's an interesting car, fascinating. It has a flat 6 now, so it's not completely original, but, Elvas, they had all sorts of different engines. Then we have one lap of VIR. It's not the greatest lap. That was a shakedown run.
The camera angle's phenomenal.
Yeah, the camera angle's great, but they were still working on the shifter, and he couldn't select 4th or 5th all that easily in the lap. So don't expect, a flying lap. But if you want to go see an Elva Porsche from the 60s driving around VIR.
All I could think was how crazy it was to drive those cars.
Oh, man.
The angle he's at, you see his shoulders. It's a great angle that Damon set up. And I just thought, oh my God, there's like no protection, it seems.
Oh, none.
It's all fiberglass, so but back then, I explained to people, if it wasn't like 550s were sitting on dealers' lots waiting for someone to buy them, it was like a GT3 RS. You had to know somebody or whatnot to get one. So to fill that hole of people who couldn't get one, these other manufacturers like Elva would give you the chassis, and then you supplied the engine. And a lot of these guys were putting the engine and found out they were lighter than the Spyders. And under the right hands, it became faster.
I think this Elva Porsche, what did they say? It's like 1,000 pounds.
Something like that. It's scary.
Wow.
It's scary.
Yeah, wow. And like tubular space frame with really thin tubing, and then a spear that they put a steering wheel on top of.
I feel like that car is more dangerous than a motorcycle.
It was like winning first, safety second.
Yeah, there's things in that car that could take you out. A motorcycle, at least you just kind of pop off of it, right? So.
No, it's a great
different era.
Great, exactly. Angle of the camera, and to learn a little bit about a car that they used to race back in the day.
Well, speaking of racing, if you want to try your hand in the evenings, on the weekends, and race fellow PCAers, we have PCASimRacing.com, and check out the site. We've got different races that are coming up. We've got a series event, and also that we have they have EDEs, which is basically showing the newbies kind of how to get started. So there's someone on the sim racing committee that can walk you through from step one all the way to full-time racing, sort of like in the club race series.
Practice your left foot braking.
Yeah, exactly.
Without the fear of hitting a tire wall.
Exactly. And if you're looking for PCA Insider swag, head over to PCA Web Store. We have the t-shirts, we have the mugs, we have the bottles. But if you're looking for just decals, you can send us your address information to podcast@pca.org, and we'll send you a set. You can show off your support of the show. And again, I really do appreciate seeing everyone at events and when you come up and you say you like the show, because really we do this out of pure passion, and we love having guests like Peter. And let us know in the comments if you're enjoying what we're doing, if there's other topics or maybe some other people that you might want us to have on the show. We would we'll take them under advisement.
My favorite comment is they go, "Oh, you really work for PCA?"
Yeah.
So they see me doing something.
Yeah.
I'm like,
you answer the phones.
Podcast is a fun thing we do. That's not my regular job.
Yeah, and it's a lot of work. And kudos to Damon, who's constantly fighting the AV gear to make all of this work and doing it in a timely manner. And we are at episode 180.
Wow.
Can you believe it? 180.
I was telling Brian that I said I've had to find 180 topics to talk about that are just Porsche related.
And Mandy's been on every single show.
I don't know what it comes up with the ideas of what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, you come up with the idea, you better execute it. Anyways, everyone, until next time, thank you for listening. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Consider sharing our show with fellow Porsche enthusiasts. Stay safe, and we'll catch you down the road.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Peter.